Hey, and welcome back to another Tip Thursday with me, Connor Klein, the language czar, and PureVPN for Virtual Private Networks. Going to link those guys below. I'm going to be shooting a video pretty soon on Virtual Private Networks, but in the meantime, you can check out their link in the description. And today is the first video in a series that I'm going to be making for you guys as I travel around, and I'm going to be showing you what you should budget for as you travel to different cities. And today I'm in Brest, Belarus, which is the first city that I'm going to be making these kind of videos for, and I'm going to be showing you what you can get for $100, about 80 euros, so that you can budget better when you're traveling around. Come with me to around Brest, Belarus. I'm going to be showing you what you can get for your 100 bucks. So let's start with accommodation. Now, Brest is really good value for a place to stay. It's about 25 to 30 US dollars to get an apartment on Airbnb, for example, in the city center. So that's going to be about 20 to 25 euros, we'll say, more or less. So now food, what should you budget for food in Brest? Now, I would say it costs between 10 and 15 US dollars, so about 8 to 12 euros to have a 2-course meal at a above average restaurant with drinks in the city center, in the center of the city. That was what I was seeing as a general price range. Of course, this fluctuates depending on, you know, your preferences, and obviously you can spend more and you can spend less, but that's what I was seeing when I, for example, went to the traditional restaurant and had dreniki and other traditional Belarusian dishes. That's more or less what I was spending. So next up are drinks. Now, to have a cocktail, a very good cocktail, I must say, at one of the best bars in the center, costs 9 Belarusian rubles, which is about $4.60 US. So I think that's around €3.80. So that's kind of the price range. That's an upper price range that you're gonna spend in Brest. Now, if you wanna have a beer, it's probably around $2, depending where for a local beer, about €1.60. And if you want to have a coffee, like you probably noticed if you follow my Instagram, especially my Instagram handle at Language Czar, then a flat white is about €1.20. So that's probably about, there's $1.40 in US terms. So that's how much a coffee costs at, actually, I think, the best cafe in the city, and that's kind of a specialty coffee to a certain extent. So obviously you can get that cheaper if you're not such a coffee addict like I am personally. So next, transport. I didn't take public transport because I really didn't need to take a bus inside the city itself. Everything was within walking distance except for maybe the fortress, which is a little bit of a walk. I think I walked like 20 to 30 minutes to get there, but it was a beautiful day, so I really didn't care. And a taxi in the city center is going to cost you about 4 Belarusian rubles, more or less. And that is about, well, that's about $2 US, about €1.60. So that gives you an idea about how much it costs for transport in the city. And Uber didn't work. I just called taxi drivers, or I took them off the street, and that's how much I paid. But remember, I do speak Russian, so I was definitely getting the real price. I'm not sure if you show up speaking English, whether they will put it on the meter, but the meters seem to be all honest. It's not a place that has a lot of tourists yet, so I didn't really feel like there was any reason to be concerned about being ripped off with respect to taxis. And if you've seen some of my other videos, you know I'm not a fan of taxi drivers when I'm traveling. I've had a lot of problems over the years with dishonesty and at times violence. So yeah, not my favorite people, but in Brest, zero problems whatsoever. And then if you're feeling like doing something cultural, like going to a museum, that was actually included in my visa-free documents, the package I bought to go to Brest, and that cost me 60 Polish zloty, so about 15 euros, which is going to be around 17, 18 US dollars, I guess. And that was already included, so I didn't actually have to pay extra. So I actually got that free, and that was, well, I didn't get it free, but it was included on the money it's spent. So there you go. That's how much the museum that I actually went to cost me in Brest. So let's see what you can get for your $100. Well, there's actually an awful lot included there, right? Because you're gonna have your accommodation for sure. We're assuming one night, at least one night's accommodation that you can eat out in restaurants basically 3 times a day. Probably have about 5 coffees if you're a coffee addict like me, and then go to a bar, have maybe 2 cocktails and 4 beers thrown in, and then even go to the museum the next day and actually that you won't even have spent your $100 or 80 euros. You probably have some change left over. So that's an indication of the price level if you go on a trip to Brest. If you've been to Belarus, if you've been to any other countries in the region nearby, like Lithuania to the north, or Poland a little bit to the west, Ukraine to the south, Russia of course to the east, then drop me a comment below. Let me know how you got on with the price level, whether you found it cheap, expensive, what kind of things you would like me to talk about in terms of prices when I'm traveling to the different countries in the region I'm traveling to. And yeah, help everybody out in the comment section. We're growing this community of people who are interested in traveling to this region. So whatever you guys actually leave below is really valuable, because there's a community growing of people who are interested in going to Eastern Europe, and that's part of the reason why I make these videos, to help you. And I also have now decided, based on the feedback from you guys on my Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter accounts when I did that poll a couple of weeks ago, that I'm going to create a video course called How to Survive a Trip to Eastern Europe, to give you a step-by-step guide about how you should put out all the things you need to know before you go to Eastern Europe on a trip. So that's going to be a really valuable resource that I'm working on right now, and I'm really looking forward to when it comes out. So for sure, sign up for my free video course that's below on traveling. So that's today's video, the first of this type of Tip Thursday, where I'm going to be showing you what you can get for 80 euros, $100 approximately, as you travel around Europe. Let me know what kind of items you're interested in seeing the price of. Today I went through accommodation, food, entertainment a little bit, but maybe there's other things that you are interested in knowing about the price levels for. So write me in that comment section below, and I will see you in the next video. До свидания, which is goodbye in Russian, from Brest in Belarus.
Language Czar.